Welcome back everybody to part 5 of the stockpot refining series. Got everything left right where we left off yesterday. I see a little bit of material accumulated down on the bottom of this flask. What we're going to do now is, I don't know what that is. It's like gold, man. I'm gonna have to filter this again and get this solids that's precipitated out overnight out of here. This is our material from the DMG in part, what was that, part 3, that we were precipitating with zinc. As you can see by the color, I've allowed it to set overnight again. You can't leave this solution on here or the metals will try to go back in solution. So we'll have to deal with this, set it back out of the way. And then back up here, we've got the solids that I did a second aqua regia extraction on. We're gonna test this with stannous chloride and see if we got solution back here. All right, I just wanted to pull this solution up here, take a look at it from a different angle so you can see what I've got here. Looks like there's some gold that came out of solution and settled to the bottom. So now what we'll do is we'll try to get that out of there and separate it from our platinum group metals in this solution. Got my stannous chloride testing solution here. I'm going to dip a piece of filter paper down in this solution that we extracted in part 4. Get a little bit of it on the end of the paper there. And now let's apply a drop of stannous chloride testing solution and see exactly what we got in solution here. Now we still got quite a bit of metal in solution. Alright, we've got a ton of work to do here. And this place is cluttered. I'm going to clean some of this out of here. I need to add this to my stock pot. And this is the solution that we're cementing with zinc. We'll leave that in here. Get this funnel out of here. I need to get this cleaned up so I can reuse it. Take this bottle of nitric acid out of here and make some room. And let me see what else we got. This here we'll keep in the fume hood. I'm going to get this silver solution out of here and get it set aside so we got some room in our fume hood. We got quite a bit more precious metals extracted with this second extraction of these solids, more than I anticipated. So what I've done here is I've set up a filter, and we're going to filter the solution off of this beaker back here, collect the solids in this filter, and allow the solution to pass through into the flask. All right, here we go. Those look like some finely divided platinum group metals in there. Get this down into the filter, pull it all through, and then take a look and see what we got. Maybe do another extraction on these solids. Refining the platinum group metals, they just simply do not cooperate. Looks like we got some gold in solution with the platinum and palladium in this flask. I'm gonna have to get that out of there. This is probably gonna have a little bit of gold in it as well. So what we'll do is once we get this all pulled through the filter, we'll add some more SMB and try to get all of the gold out of there. These platinum group metals, they just do not cooperate. Nothing like refining gold and silver. Got all the solution pulled through. Now what we'll do is I'll get the solution into a beaker, and what we'll do is add some sodium metabisulfite, try to precipitate out any gold that's in here. I'm going to add some sodium metabisulfite. See what kind of reaction we get here. The joy, there it goes. There we go. We got the gold coming out of solution down there. Quite a bit of it looks like. Well, I guess if you do this long enough, you get to see everything. Alright, while we're waiting for this to settle, what I'll do is I'm going to bring the beaker back down. We'll take the solids from our funnel here, put it right back in the beaker, try to do a third extraction. Keep doing this until we don't get no more metal out of those solids. Put a little bit of hydrochloric acid in here, about 300 milliliters, and we're going to add some concentrated nitric acid and form aqua regia in here again, and do a third extraction on these solids. Milliliters of concentrated nitric. I'm going to cover it up, put it back up on the heat, and let it continue to react here. And while we're doing that, we'll let our gold settle out of this solution. I've allowed this allowed this gold in this solution to settle for about 20 minutes. Reach in here and get a status test on the fluid that's left in there. See what that looks like. And as you can see, there's just a little bit of platinum group metals left in there now. All the gold's been thrown down by the SMB that we added earlier. Here's the previous test. So now I'm going to let this settle complete. Okay, waiting for this to settle. Waiting for the solution in back to react with the aqua regia. What I'll do now is siphon most of the liquid out of here. It's going to contain platinum group metals down into a clean beaker. siphoning this so that I don't disturb the solids that are settled down on the bottom of this flask. And once I get most of it siphoned off, we'll pour the rest of it through a filter and collect that gold that's settled in the bottom of this flask. Unexpectedly, I did not expect that to happen. All right, here is this is the rest of the gold down there. You can see it. Definitely looks like gold. Get that filtered out of there. Pull this beaker up, and let's look at this. It looks kind of strange because the rinse water there changed some value in our solution and caused it to turn a different color and develop a little bit of a cloudiness to it. That's quite all right. I'm going to cover this up now. We'll set this back out of the way. This is where it's going to get fun, man. Nothing's going to happen like we expect with our gold and silver refining. So we're going to find new adventures here in the refining process. Now, that's my way of telling you that I'm out of my element here and kind of making this up as I go, going by the seat of my pants here. Let's get this filter dampened. And now what I'll do is we're gonna filter the gold out of this solution. You can see it in there. Definitely looks like gold to me. This solution to pull through, I'm going to add a quick shot of nitric to this back here. This has been on boiling now for about a half an hour. See if we can pull any more precious metals out of this in the back. And now we'll pour the rest of our gold down through into this filter. We don't want it going through the filter. We want to collect the gold this filter. There's the gold down there in the bottom. I think it's gold. Kind of got a strange look to it. Get it collected up in this filter. See if it will melt into a little bead or button. I put my mask on because I was starting to get some fumes coming back at me out of the fume hood there. What I'm doing here is taking the filter that has the trapped gold in it and putting it in that little melt dish there. You'll see here in a minute. I'll pull it up and we can open it up, take a look at the gold particles in the filter. That has some value, so I'll save that in the melt dish and set it off to the side, and we'll melt that up a little bit later on. Here I'm taking the main solution that we filtered out and siphoned out of that flask earlier. And we're going to add the solution out of this flask here to this big beaker. Get all of the solution in the big beaker. And platinum group metals do not like to precipitate out of dilute solutions. The preferred method is to concentrate the solution first before we attempt to precipitate any of the metals out of the solution. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set it up on top of a hot plate stir mechanism there. I'm going to add a stir bar, and we're going to add some heat and stirring and get this solution evaporated down. We've evaporated this solution down a little bit. It's darkened the color of it. And what I think I'm going to do with that solution, this is hydrochloric acid that I'm adding to a beaker. What I think I'm going to do with this solution is try adding some DMG, some dimethylglycine, see if I can get the platinum group metals precipitated and concentrated with some DMG. Right now I'm going to add, is that about 200 milliliters of hydrochloric acid to our solids over here. I will put a shot of nitric back here in this beaker that's got our solids. Continue to try to extract some metals out of here. Alright, that was about 2 milliliters of nitric acid. Someone had asked about adding the dimethylglycine directly to the solution without trying to dissolve it first. So we're going to try that here. Let's see how it works. I'm going to put some dimethylglycine right into our solution. Try to get our platinum group metals precipitated out with this DMG. Here we go. This ended up working out pretty good. As you can see, the platinum group metals are precipitating out. It's forming a nice fluffy yellow precipitate, and the solution is becoming much lighter in color, which tells me that I'm getting metals coming out of solution onto the DMG. It's a pretty neat reaction to watch, so I'll just let this go in real time. You can actually see the clumps of yellow precipitate forming in the solution, and then we'll get that all concentrated and get it pulled out of there into a filter. Adding the DMG to this solution. Looks like I got a pretty good result there. The palladium is precipitating out of the solution as a fluffy yellow precipitate. I'm going to turn the stir bar off here. I'm just going to let this settle out and go from here. Well, it's not necessary to include it, and it adds length to the video. I like to include this kind of footage to show you what happens, how these compounds behave in the solutions there. There's no energy being input. It's just settling out of that solution on its own. This is about a 30-minute clip here, sped up. I'm going to drop a little bit of this solution into a small beaker here. I've got a small container of dimethylglycine dissolved in a little bit of water. We're going to see if further additions of dimethylglycine will precipitate palladium from this solution, or if we've got it all. Now I'll add the DMG. See what happens here. this sit down out of the way and take a look at that in a few minutes and see how our sample looks. Alright, we're gonna get some of this solution here, test it. There's a little bit of stuff forming down on the bottom of this, but not very much at all. Solution's much lighter. Kind of a judgment call here. Do I chase after the small amount of platinum in this solution and try to precipitate everything out with the DMG? Or do we go in here and filter this out and get our prize before it tries to go back in solution, or something else tries to come out of solution on it? And let's get a Stannis test here. As you can see, we've got platinum in solution there. Looks like it's just platinum. I don't see much palladium. So now it's time to make a judgment call. What do we do here? I think what we're going to do is get our precipitate out of here now into a filter. Alright, based on this Stannis test, not a whole lot of platinum in solution here. Less than 1 gram per liter. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to filter this out now and get our precipitate, which is going to be a combination of platinum and palladium. And we're going to get it into a filter here and claim our prize before this stuff decides to pull a fast one on us and change form, create another problem for us. So I'm going to hook this up and we're going to pour this hot solution into this funnel right here. Alright, I've got our vacuum started. We're going to pour this hot solution through this filter now, collect our palladium, this concentrated now in this precipitate down here. That was fairly easy. We've got our concentrate now in this funnel. It's our palladium concentrate that we precipitated with DMG. It will also contain a little bit of platinum. Might be some gold down there in that dark stain down on the filter paper. A little bit. I'm going to transfer it now into our beaker that we just took it out of. And now what we'll do, I've got some other filters with small amounts of palladium precipitated with DMG. But if you notice, that'd be alright, I guess. It doesn't have a bunch of silver, and I'm going to add that one in. These here, they've got silver all over the filter papers, and I don't want to add any silver into this reaction. So what we'll do now is I'm going to add a little bit of hydrochloric acid, and we're going to dissolve this just like we did this. And now that we've got it concentrated, 150, 200 milliliters of hydrochloric acid. Turn the stir bar on, put some heat on it. And now I'm going to add a small amount of nitric acid, and we'll dissolve this concentrated palladium precipitate in some aqua regia with some heat here. Waiting for this to dissolve, I think what we'll do is rig up a funnel here and get our gold out of that solution back there. If you look at it, it's got some other precipitate forming on top. Don't know what that is. And that's another classic behavior of the platinum group metals. I'm just going to pour it in this filter here. We're going to get the gold into this filter and then make a decision on what we're going to do with this metal or this solution here and here. Our gold. Pulled off of that. Got the gold in a filter paper. Got a melt dish over here with some gold in a filter paper from a previous operation there. We're going to try to get the gold out of here now. In this melt dish down here, and then we should be able to get this into onto the melt table and melt this up. Get another little bit of small gold button out of this. Add another half a shot of nitric to this jar back here. See a whole lot of fume production. It's just boiling away. So we may not have a whole bunch more precious metals coming out of them solids back there. Alright, I'm going to set this melt dish back here out of the way. Take this funnel out of here. Get out of the way, and then what I'm going to do here, I think, is I'm going to transfer our solution into this big beaker. Just going to have platinum in it, maybe a little bit of palladium, and I'm going to try to concentrate it by putting it up on the stir plate there. Just let it heat up and evaporate away. This here, I think we've got this pretty much all dissolved. I'm gonna set this back out of the way. I'll put this big beaker up on top of the heat pad here. We're gonna let this just heat and evaporate down. See if we can concentrate it a little more and then make a decision on what we want to do with this solution. Alright, I've got about a liter of solution evaporated down. We got this a little more concentrated. Over here, this thing has become dehydrated. So we're going to add a couple of 100 milliliters of hydrochloric acid to rehydrate this. And I have been adding nitric acid to this off camera. Get a little bit more hydrochloric in here. And then I'm going to shoot it with another quick squirt of nitric acid. This is the sample that I drew out of the big beaker. I added some DMG and got a little bit of precipitate to form. It's not enough metal to try to go after. If this was gold, then yes, we'd add a little bit more SMB and get all our gold. But this is platinum group metals. They're totally different. You can never get a 100% recovery from the platinum group metals. This is a classic example of what not to do. Our solution back here has been boiling all day long. I'm going to turn that off now and let that settle and cool off. And now I'm going to get the stir bar out of here. This is the palladium that we dissolved earlier. Get the stir bar. Put it over here in this jar. We've got this jar evaporated down to about 1 liter here. So now, turn the stir bar on, get it going. And what we're going to do is, now that I've got this concentrated, I'm going to add some DMG and see if we can get some more metal precipitated out of this concentrated solution. Here we go. See what happens here. 2 spoons of it. The reason I decided to concentrate this and try to precipitate out some more metal is because in our sample here I was able to get just a touch more of the yellow precipitate out of this solution. I'm going to add that back in now. Now we're going to turn the heat off, let this cool down, and let's see what kind of precipitate we get forming in here. Stick a piece of filter paper in here, get a stannous test on our solution, see exactly what it is that we do have in here. Looks like orange to me. Platinum. All right, we've got a little bit of precipitate up here in this beaker. What I'm going to do now is get it out of there and consolidate it with the material that we already have dissolved back here. This has been allowed to cool off a little bit. It's mighty weird looking. Doesn't look like the bright yellow stuff I'm used to seeing. It's a brownish color. It might be gold. So this is what I get for going after trace amounts, small amounts in solution. Probably would have been better off just adding this to my stock pot. We got the bulk of it out of here when we did that initial precipitation. See there, it's unusual looking stuff. I don't think I'm going to be adding that to my palladium solution back here. I'll just get this out, set it aside, and we'll save it. And then the solution that we're getting in the flask down here, it's going to have a little bit of platinum in it. We'll put that in our stock pot. Sure what we got here. Brown. Looks like it might be gold, but I don't know, man. I'm out of my element here. I have no clue what I got. So I'm not going to add it to our refining this time around. We'll keep this filter, save it for a later experiment. Okay, this is the solution that I precipitated with DMG. I got this material in this filter. I have no clue what it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to set this off to the side, save it for a later experiment. Right now, what I'm going to do is get down into this solution that we have up here in our beaker. All right, we're going to dip our piece of filter paper down inside of this solution. This is our third extraction from the solids. It's full of precious metals. Wonderful. Couldn't conclude the video without looking at a shot of the electrolytic silver cell. This has got some gorgeous crystals growing in it. I think this is about 8 or 10 days worth of growth, and it's time to harvest the crystal out of here. Just wanted to show that. Pretty neat looking sight. This will conclude part 5. We learned a lesson, or should I say we relearned a lesson not to chase after trace amounts of platinum group metals in solution like that. When I detect trace amounts, just pour it in a stock pot and be done with it. I did learn a valuable lesson about the process that I've got going on out there. I've kind of got it, how should I say, we've got it down a little bit. We do the extraction on the solids, we get that solution, precipitate out the gold, and then we drop the platinum group metals with the DMG, filter that out, and then concentrate the platinum group metals in that DMG concentrate, and then we can cement that out on zinc. Then we can proceed with the rest of the refining. I've got a little bit of gold out there, and in part 6 we'll get the rest of the gold out of those solids that I think might be in there, and we'll get another bead of gold and add it to our original bead from the previous part, and I guess that's it. That'll conclude part 5 of the stock pot 2 refining series. Thanks for watching.